done in love like
Hey guys, we're Kristen and Jarrell Abraham.
Welcome back.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Also, follow us on Insta.
My Instagram is JCA Official. What's yours?
Kristen Nicole Official. We also have Yahweh Music LLC. So subscribe there for some inspirational quotes and music.
Right. Today's topic is water your family.
So, as you might have noticed, we are all about family, we're all about love, we're all about life. And watering your family is definitely an essential thing to do.
Yes.
Give your loved ones the necessary tools to thrive. It is not enough to just survive.
Correct.
So we did have a previous vlog where we discussed surviving and thriving.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to revert back to that. Jesus said he came so we can live abundantly, not so we can just make it day to day, just barely hanging on. So we're going to discuss 3 points for watering your family: love, communication, and patience. Love.
Let everything you do
Be done in love. So love is interesting because not everybody loves the same way. Not everybody knows how to love. Not everybody was raised in love. So one of the things that you definitely want to do is learn how to cultivate that within yourself so that you can then give to others. So when you love, it's very difficult to explain to somebody how to love because everybody is different.
It's a language.
But it is a language. So you just want to make sure that you are expressing how you feel about another person in the most appropriate way.
Yeah.
So learn them, and really cater to and cultivate the positive traits within them and grow with them. And I think that's the best way to love somebody.
Absolutely. Because, if it's a language, you have to speak their language.
Right.
So definitely make sure that you're what she says by the most appropriate way. When she says that, she means a way that they would understand it the best.
You can't
Speak
buy
their
somebody.
language. That never works. Money's never
Money
gonna
can't
buy
buy
love.
love. So that's kind of what I'm saying, in the most appropriate way. Because what you can do sometimes is we're foodies, so sometimes we'll get each other the favorite meal,
Mm-hmm.
or he'll get me carnations because that's my favorite flower, or we'll get each other the drink from Starbucks or something like that. So it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, and so that's what I mean by you can't buy love, but you can do certain things that are meaningful.
Right.
So you can't just oh, here honey, I bought you a bracelet, and then that's it. You guys don't have any type of communication or any type of relationship. You can't just be oh, okay, hey son, you want to go to the movies? Take him to the movies, and then that's it. You're not teaching him how to be a man. You don't even know that he likes to dance. You're taking him to the movies instead of really learning about him. Might not even be a movie he want to watch.
Right.
So
Pick it out for him without telling him.
Exactly.
Surprise.
So that's kind of what I mean by learning how to love.
Yeah.
Because it's good that you're making that time or you're putting in that effort. But if that's not a language that they understand, or it's not going to translate into that, then it's going to be misconstrued, and it's going to be well, they don't love me because they always did what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not your intention, but they don't know that. Which is why you have to learn them. So you study your family.
Right.
Communication is a biggie, because that's kind of what I was touching on already. So how you learn to love someone is to communicate with them. You study their behaviors. They study your behaviors. You interact. You learn what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
And the most important thing is to be able to talk it out, to discuss it.
Mm-hmm. What I will say about that is that it's not always going to be rosy and peachy. You're not always going to get along. But communication plays a huge piece in things being copacetic and staying that way. You have to be able to communicate with your family. They have to be able to communicate with you. And the floor always has to be open for that.
Yeah.
So it has to be something that not only you're willing to do, but you're comfortable doing with each other. You know, that's incredibly important, you know.
Which leads us to patience. This is a big one that we're both still learning because we're patient in different ways.
Yeah.
Which is good because the contrast means that you can help strengthen me in certain areas. I can help strengthen you in certain areas.
Correct.
But the reason why patience is even on this list on watering your family is because in order to love them, in order to communicate, you have to be patient. You have to be able to put in the work, the time, the effort, because it takes effort. And it's not even just a relationship between husband and wife. Building a relationship with your children it takes the same effort. And really, probably more effort because they're less likely to communicate with you because of the age gap. So they're looking at you as an authoritative figure versus a peer. So sometimes you kind of have to pull things out. Like my daughter, for example, I will know that something's off with her because her affect is different, her mood is different, or there's just something different about her face or a certain twinkle in her eye. And she doesn't even have to say anything. And I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing. And like, I know that there's something wrong. Oh, nothing. There's something wrong. Well, I just don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, no, we're going to talk about it. She goes, but how do you know there's something wrong? Like, because I'm your mom. I know.
Right.
And the reason why I know is because I study her.
But when you're us, that's everything's obvious.
Right.
So you have to you have to be patient enough for this to become obvious to you. If you really care about the person, you know what I mean? Study the person, learn the person.
Right. My son, he'll make certain facial expressions or he'll make certain noises. And I'm like, what's that? And then he'll just kind of look at me and I'm like, no, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, but when you spend enough time around someone, then you know that there's certain things about them that mean something.
Right.
So it's not just something to breeze over or, oh, it'll go away, or so it never goes away. Right. And that's a part of loving and communicating because you want to make sure that everything is okay. And if it's not, you have to be willing to be a part of the solution in fixing it. And this goes for extended family as well. So I feel like I just cut myself off, but I didn't. I was done.
It was the yeah so far.
Right, the yeah so. Do you have anything else to add, or?
I think that's it. Really just getting to know, like, because a lot of times we think we know our family, but we don't always know them from the perspective that they want to be learned or that they want us to know them. We don't know everything about them. We don't know all sides of them. So any side that will help you, that'll help you with them, like benefit your relationship and your connection with them, those are the sides of your family members that you want to learn. And that will just contribute to the overall relationship and the bond that you have.
And we spoke about that in how to deal with toxic people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The difference between a toxic person and toxic behaviors and potentially toxic behaviors. And
speaking of which, if what we're talking about is not important as far as learning the person and understanding them and communicating with them, if that's not really a priority, or it's not more important than how you feel or your emotions or your own personal opinion, this episode's not for you. But it should be. You should want it to be. And we all need family. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's all you're going to have. God, your family. So just keep in mind that those are your first line of defense in times of hardship. You're going to need them.
And you need to learn how to apply these things.
The reason they're not chosen for you, I mean, the reason you don't choose them and that they're chosen for you is because they're the people who matter most to you. So if you were to choose them yourself, you'd pick people who wouldn't actually be as effective and prominent in your life. but the fact that they were predestined for you and chosen for you, and that you had no control over who they are, that within itself is a testimony to how important they are and how much they matter to you.
Each person is there really to help you to grow and really shape yourself, which is really interesting, which is why we all need each other. We need to be mindful of how we're interacting.
Yeah, and they're gonna challenge you. They're gonna challenge your understanding. They're gonna challenge your patience. They're gonna challenge your love for them. They're gonna challenge the way you communicate. Just be up for the challenge, like any other. Be ready for it, you know. And you know, it's something that I'm confident that most people watching this won't fail at. I feel like you guys can handle it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, is there anything else you wanted to add? Or?
That's it.
All right. Well.
I will add, thank you for joining us, and God bless.